Well, all of HR is finally starting to understand that the work that they did to use these applicant tracking systems and really just their control over the hiring system as a whole has had a ton of unintended consequences. And this is the thing. Early in my career, I was told by my boss, they said always be careful about what you incentivize because that's what you're going to get more of. These applicant tracking systems, Indeed, LinkedIn, Workday, all these different areas that they exist, right, for managing your overall applicants. What they've done, and from the HR level, is really they just said, here are the keywords that we are searching for. So when you submit your resume, we're just gonna have AI scan it and find it, right? We all familiar with that. So if you're incentivizing people to make their resumes highly efficient and being able to be picked up by the AI, well, everyone's going to do that. So now your filter is just as garbagey as it was before. And what we're running into now is the fact that there is something called hidden hidden hiring, I think is what they're calling it. We'll take a look at it here in a second, which was simply just known as like, hey, back in the day when I needed to hire someone, I'd put a job notice out, but I'd always talk to folks saying, hey, I'm looking for such and such in sales. You know anybody who might be looking? That you worked your network. And that's really what's happening more. Now you have people who are worried that that's not fair. And we're getting into this whole mess of issues when it really comes down to the fact that decisions that were made by HR and leadership at these larger companies and businesses as a whole have completely destroyed and upended the job market. And we're dealing with the fallout of that right now, in addition to the fact that there are still tons of companies that are shedding businesses or shedding jobs. Just where we're at right now. So we're going to take a look at a couple articles here from Business Insider, etc., where they're talking about from the recruiter's position what's happening. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what I'm explaining to my clients and how they should be looking at the overall issues going on with hiring right now, and how they can find better applicants, but also just make it a better experience for everybody involved. Okay. For those that don't know, my name is Ryan Helm, a business coach who works out of West Michigan and around the country. I come here live on YouTube pretty consistently every single day, just sharing information I share with my clients, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get into this here. This is from Business Insider. Links to the articles we're going to talk about are going to be in the description here. And this line right here is something that I hear from all of my clients, and I hear it from folks when I'm just out in industry, out in public, just talking with business owners and recruiters, etc. Drowning in resumes. Anytime she posts a job, she gets a tsunami. Now let's talk about what we're incentivizing here. So one, it's very difficult to get through the filter. So you submit resumes for everything. That's one of the things that you see people doing because they don't get any calls back and call back from anyone. Two, there has to do with unemployment benefits as well. Now, this is not the end all be all, and this is not knocking that. However, and I mean that truthfully, it's just what the system is set up. People have to be applying for work and doing interviews and trying to find work for many states in order to stay on benefits. So they're going to be applying for all sorts of jobs to show that they've done it so they can stay on benefits while they're trying to find the job they need. So you get those folks who are just applying to any job that they can see. All of this gets mixed into the point where now you see this tsunami going on. Apparently this is the HR person. Look at that. Just wants resumes for the jobs that she needs. All right. She recruits for niche fields and estimates that 80% of the applicants she gets aren't qualified. And I would honestly say that number is probably too low. Just my experience anecdotally, it's been 85 to 90% of the applicants that we get are not qualified for the positions there. And the filters that we have on these applicant tracking systems are just not good enough because everyone's optimizing the resume to get through the applicant tracking. It's just where we're at. Veteran recruiter Kathy Lavender, again, thinks twice for posting jobs. 25 years finding candidates for a narrow niche, corporate security, intelligence, investigative roles. Jobs that require very special skills, and most people aren't qualified, but people are still applying. So now almost any job she puts up gets more than that, and sometimes more than 500 resumes for every job. And that is on the low end, folks. I have one right here in West Michigan that you wouldn't expect. They put a resume or a job application out for like a middle manager type position. They got over 1,200 resumes. Oh, 1,200. How exciting is that to have to go through? But I get it. There's a limited number of jobs and there's some folks that need to get it. So I completely understand. Now it's been getting worse every single time I post something. She said, I used to get a robust response. Now they get a tsunami. Reasons aren't hard to spot. Job market has cooled 100%. And many people's searches are taking longer. Top of that, AI tools can churn out custom resumes and catapult them to employers in seconds. All right, let's get back here. So here's one of the issues that we're running into. We have people who are actively trying to find folks for very specific jobs, and now everyone's applying because those jobs are available. Some people think they may be able to do it. They're so desperate for work that they're applying for everything. That's just where we're at right now. And what that's leading to is, again, when it comes to the recruiters, they still have a job to do. They have to find these people. That's how they get paid, because that's their job. So what are they turning to? They're turning to this. Recruiters skip postings, favor networks over AI resumes. Again, they're getting inundated right here. Not happy with the AI resumes. What's happening with these folks, and we're going to see, is they are getting tons. We talked about this. This is a follow-on from the Business Insider piece here. Rise of hidden hiring, okay, which is through the network, where they're asking people specifically, like, hey, do I understand? Do you know anybody who can help me with this? Because as it's currently set up, the applicant tracking systems are not working out. They just aren't for the vast majority of businesses. They're having to go through too many resumes. And frankly, there's a lot of people who are not applying for certain jobs that they'd be qualified for because they are worried about getting their resume through the filter and into the hands of somebody who can actually recognize the work that they do. So think about the technical side, like in the very, very technical trades that are out there. The HR managers may or may not, they do a good job. Be clear on this. I've spent a lot of time with HR and hiring managers, etc. The vast majority do their best to fully understand what is needed for a position so that they can go out and go find that talent. They really do their best. However, few things in this world can separate actually having somebody that is in that field, getting a chance to talk to the person, kind of vibe with them a little bit to know. And a lot of that doesn't show up on your, doesn't show up on a resume, doesn't show up, especially on the AI, the AI generated ones, right? So here's the issue that we're running to. How want to say it? It's an arms race. I think that's really the best way to describe this right now, folks. We're in an arms race. We have HR who has tried to use AI systems to help them better filter the correct candidates to the correct jobs, right? So we've got that. And then you have the employees, they're arming up too, because they want to be able to get through that filter to that first interview, right? So they're using AI to help build their resumes to be able to get through the filter for these systems. Well, now we're at the point where, okay, the next part of this is that now the filters aren't working. So what's next? Now you have to have business owners who are spending more time having to meet people in person, which isn't necessarily working, right? That's the other spot. So they've increased the number of hiring managers. They've increased the number of people who are having in-person interviews. That's not working as well, because they're still getting flooded with folks, and they have folks that they schedule for the meetings and then they don't show up, right? Employees who aren't showing up for the meetings. That happens quite a bit. They get ghosted. So what are business owners to do? This is what they're doing. They are taking a look at their network, and they are utilizing their network to reach out in the community to say, listen, I've got a position open here. Do you know anyone who might be looking? Do you have anyone that may be open to an interview? And they're having to use their networks to find people, which historically has been where a lot of those positions have been filled. But with that comes, is that fair in hiring practices? That's the next spot you're running into, and that ultimately is what where I see this next piece going. Is I expect there to be some movement in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how to manifest to where the network hiring is going to be seen as unfair and biased, and we're going to see it be the next thing in the hiring world to where HR is going to be either restricted from doing that. I just see something happening there, a regulation or a law coming up. I just have this feeling that that's going to be the next spot, because they want to make sure that fair hiring is fair and equitable. But going through the network piece is not going to be viewed the same way. So anyways, this is kind of where I'm at here right now, folks. We're in this weird spot where the people want to hire for specific talent, specific skills. However, they aren't able to find them because when they do post a job for this, they get inundated with so many resumes that are tailor-made to this, yet the people aren't ready. And that's what we're up against, folks. So how's this going to get better? You know, when I'm talking to my clients, really, I'm telling them, use network effect, use the network, make sure that you are having those conversations and just are constantly working your network. So when you do need to hire, you can send out a note to everyone. I think that is really what I'm advising my clients to do. And frankly, they've had a lot of success doing that. Do we still use applicant tracking systems? Of course we do, for the entry-level jobs. However, they are less and less effective. And frankly, the costs that they have really lead me to believe that we're going to be moving away from a lot of the Indeeds and the LinkedIns and stuff. So, all right. So with that, hopefully I earned your subscription today, folks. It is just wild out there. Make sure that you're keeping your head on a swivel. If you are a business owner who is thinking about selling their business and has never had a valuation done, is your opportunity. Go down in the links in the description there. You will see a link to my value builder assessment. It takes about 13-15 minutes to fill out. It's going to give you your score on 8 key drivers for business growth, but also for those aspects of businesses that buyers look for and they pay high multiples for. All right.